Daniel.
What?
Daniel.
What?
It's time to come to dinner. Come on.
Okay.
Daniel, I told you it was time for dinner. Come on.
You never let me finish a game. You always tell me what to do. You never let me do what I want.
Daniel, I've been calling you and calling you and calling you. It's for dinner time. Why can't you just do what I asked you to do? You're the child. I'm the parent. Do what you're told. Hi, Carissa. I hope you had a good day today. It's time for dinner, and your mom and I are going to be eating for about the next 30 minutes or so. We would love for you to come to dinner with us. But if you don't want to, we'll see you for breakfast, okay?
Okay, I'll be there in a little bit.
Welcome. We're glad to have you back again for our fourth session in our Parenting with Love and Logic seminar. Today's topic is going to be control through choices. You know, control is a very curious thing. The more we give it away, the more we gain. We tend to think that control with our children is something that we just got to really keep real close to us and not allow them to have very much control at all. But control, when it's given away in age-appropriate times and the right amount, is a very good thing. It's a maturing process. We need to set the limits, but then we must give our children control of how they operate within those limits. Think of it in terms of like a fence in your backyard. The fence protects your children from danger outside, and it allows them to be in a safe environment. This is what the control is that we're trying to give our children. We don't want to give them too much control too soon because it will be detrimental for them. As we always do, we have a proverb. And today's proverb is, "Hear, my child, and accept my words, that the years of your life may be many." What the writer here is saying is that children need to listen to what mom and dad have to say. Mom and dad need to be passing on good wisdom to them, because the difference between right and wrong oftentimes determines how long we actually live. Because good choices help us to extend the years in our life. Enjoy the session today.
This session is about power, and in the umbrella, the control, who makes the decisions, and the battles that causes. So go to your notebook and answer the question about power. Discuss it with your fellow parents.
Let's think about control in terms of the letter V, okay? Now, if we give our children way too much control when they're born and try to pull the control back in as they grow, we run into lots of problems. But if the control is like a V pattern, like when they're born and it's down here, they have very little control, and as we start doling things out, let's say for a toddler, for example, you might say to a toddler, "Would you like to stay in your bath 5 minutes longer, or do you want to get out now?" You're giving them the option of choosing whether they want to stay in the bath or go ahead and get out. As a child progresses and gets into elementary school, control might come into play with something like allowances. By the way, we encourage that you give your children allowances because it gives them an opportunity to learn how to control and handle money. But with their allowances, they learn that if they spend all their money at one time, they don't have anything else, and it gives you an opportunity as a parent when they want something else to say, "I'm sorry, that's the way it works for me. When I'm out of money, I don't get to buy anything else." As they grow older, let's say middle school, junior high age, control might go into areas like the clothes they wear. Maybe some of the clothes that they want to wear is not exactly the same clothes that you would want to buy for them to wear, but clothes are clothes, and as long as they're modest, their fashion comes and goes. Let them have a little bit of choice in what it is, in what they would like to wear. By the time your child is at high school age, the control is way up here at the top. They have gone from being totally dependent as an infant to being very, very close to total independence as an upper adolescent as they approach the age of graduating from high school. You might look at it, another metaphor might be if it were the amount of dependence our children has on us when they're an infant, it's this big, and by the time they're ready to finish high school, that dependence is this big. So give control out in age-appropriate increments. You don't want a child who is in elementary school doing the same thing that a child that's in high school is doing. Think about this. I think it'll help.
So if you're anything like me, or your kids are anything like mine, you can agree that we all like to have power. We all want to be in control, but how? I'm going to give you 3 simple tools to help you through this power struggle, which is unfortunately inevitable. Number 1, avoid the control battle at all cost. The more you give away, the more we gain. It's good for us to set limits, but we have to give our children control over how they operate within these limits. Number 2, if you're going to get in one of these struggles, make sure you win at all cost. The truth is that we influence our children by modeling. But every time that we issue demands, we're inviting a fight that's difficult to win. The secret to establishing control is to concentrate only on the battles that we can win. Number 3 ties closely to number 2. Pick the issue very carefully. Whenever a control battle is lost, it's usually because the issue wasn't chosen wisely. When it comes to our children, there are things that are just outside of our control, and it's better to avoid them altogether.
In giving children choices, I want you to choose your choices very carefully. We must offer real and enforceable choices without empty threats like, I'm going to leave you here for the police. Let's look at some real enforceable choices now. Number 1, would you rather clean your room this morning or this afternoon? Or would you rather pick up your toys or hire me to do it? Do you want to spend your allowance on fun things this week or pay someone else to do your chores? The last one, do you guys want to settle your problem yourselves or draw straws to see who sits by the window? Non-threatening choices give children a chance to take some control over their own problems. Now, we've already discussed how important it is to choose your choices carefully. As we offer choices to our kids, we should remember 5 basic things. Number 1, always be sure to select choices that you as a parent like and can live with. Number 2, never give choices unless you are willing to allow the child to experience the consequences of those choices. Number 3, never give choices when the child's in danger. Number 4, always give 2 verbal choices, but make sure that the child knows that there's a 3rd implied choice. If he or she doesn't decide, you will decide for them. Number 5, your delivery is really important. I want you to look at your notebook and complete those 5 sentences. Now, the Love and Logic seminar is about offering our kids choices. These choices help our kids learn to make good decisions and also help them to become more responsible as they grow up. So, why do these choices work? Winnable war is waged through choices, not demands. Choices force our kids to think for themselves and to decide. Choices give our children opportunities to make mistakes and learn from those mistakes and consequences. Now, the consequences comes from the world around them and really not from us. Choices work because they help us to avoid getting into those control battles. Choices tell our children that we trust them, which builds their self-confidence, their relationship with us, and helps us keep a healthy control.
A small change in the way you talk can result in better cooperation. And isn't that better than the power struggle? This would give us fewer fights, less tantrums, less need for consequences, less hate, and more loving relationships. Let's talk about some of these examples for thinking word requests. I would appreciate you taking out the trash before bedtime. Thank you. Would you mind taking those words to your room? Thank you. How about, would you mind helping your sister now? I would appreciate it. Or, hey, would you mind coming here? Thanks. Now I know right now you're probably thinking that these aren't words that really show our kids' authority. Or perhaps maybe to you it sounds a little cheesy or wimpy. But let's just think about it. Don't be so quick to judge. Do children learn best from hearing about consequences, or do they learn more from experiencing them? Let's take a look at the following scenarios.
Daniel, would you mind taking those words into your room, please? Thank you.
No, I don't have to.
Daniel, did not I ask you nicely?
Yeah, so what? I'm not leaving.
Well, son, that's not a wise decision. I'm learning a lot from this.
Hey, Dad, can you take me to my football practice today? Mr. Smith can't drive me.
Well, I don't know, son. Did you ask me in a nice way?
Sure, what's this all about?
Well, yesterday you taught me that asking a nice way doesn't work. Remember our little episode when I asked you in a very nice way to go to your room? What did you teach me?
I don't know.
Well, you taught me that asking nicely doesn't work very well with you. I really want you to think about that. And the next time when you want something, and I feel that your level of cooperation has really gotten better, I'll be glad to help you.